Well, it's Monday morning, so you know what time that is. It's time to overreact here on Locked On Vols. What did we like? What did we dislike? What do we know now going back and watching the tape from Saturday's win over Texas A&M? What's it mean moving forward to the Alabama game this week? We got a lot to uncover. Buckle up. It's your Monday Locked On Vols.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, good Monday morning, everybody. Welcome to Locked On Vols. It is your team every single day. Shout out everydayers for making Locked On Vols your first listen every single day. We're a part of that Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you in part by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the promo code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Again, that is Game Time. We got a whole lot to get into. A couple of notes that I have going back and rewatching the football game from the other night. Tennessee, again, still won the football game. Not sure if you're aware, all right, but Tennessee did win that football game. We are so close to it. We're obsessive. We're fanatics. We're fans. I'm a media. That makes sense. It's my job to cover every single angle of this football team. But, I mean, the vibe since leaving Neyland Stadium Saturday night is, oh, my gosh, Joe Milton sucks. Oh, my gosh, it's awful. It's awful. In case you forgot, Tennessee did win this football game. So I had to tell one of my buddies that the other day. I'm like, I understand, but look at all the positives from this game. Defense was fantastic. Run game against the SEC's best rush defense, fantastic. Special teams was awesome. Got a special team score. That's good. Again, more on that as we continue on. But it's like, man, there was a lot of good. There was a whole lot of good that outweighs the bad, in my opinion. But anyway, the bad was bad, and we'll get to it, and we'll talk about the rest of the week. But I've got some notes here going back on the rewatch from that football game on Saturday. We'll hear the scoring plays courtesy of the Vol Radio Network. Not a whole lot, but we will hear all the important plays and how it sounded on the Vol Radio Network. Stats and my Cain grades to wrap up the show here on a Monday. First order of business, first note I have for you right here. And don't forget, Twitter Tuesdays tomorrow, so any questions, comments, concerns, a lot of you guys have already been sending them in. I've put a star by them. I bookmarked them. We'll get them on tomorrow's show here on Locked On Vols. First note I want to get in, and if you haven't listened to the postcast from Saturday night, it was actually early Sunday morning when I got home from covering the game. I encourage you to do that. It was some more real reaction before I went back and kind of studied and started to write columns and all that. Go listen to that. And I think I dropped this note on that podcast, but I'm gonna say it here again. This was the first game a Josh Heupel head coach football team won that didn't score 30 points. Josh Heupel said after the game, I hadn't won too many football games like this. Actually, coach, you haven't won a game like this ever as being a head coach, not in Knoxville, not in Orlando, at UCF. This is the first time ever that a Josh Heupel head coach football team won a football game with not scoring 30 points. Also, I believe this is the second time a Josh Heupel head coach football team at Tennessee failed to score more than just one touchdown. And I believe this is the first time at Tennessee, and I would imagine overall, I didn't look at UCF, but I would imagine overall that this is the first time a Josh Heupel head coach football team won a football game scoring only one touchdown. So that was kind of interesting there. Kind of interesting for sure that the first time ever that Josh Heupel won a football game not scoring 30 points. This is not a fantastic note. This is from Grant Ramey. Okay. He, my colleague over at VolQuest.com. This is a note from him, and it's a really good note, but it's not good in terms of who your starting quarterback is. 4 of the 5 lowest scoring games during the Heupel era at Tennessee have been Joe Milton games. All right. I'll say that again. 4 of the 5 lowest scoring games at the University of Tennessee under Josh Heupel have been with Joe Milton as your quarterback. Bowling Green back in 2021, that was 38 points. Clemson this past year, huge win. New Year's Six bowl game, huge win. Clemson, 31 points. Joe Milton was your starting quarterback. Austin Peay earlier this year, 30 points. Texas A&M just this past weekend, 20 points. The fifth one was obviously Hendon Hooker was your quarterback. That was at Pittsburgh last football season in week 2. So Joe Milton was the starting quarterback against Bowling Green, Clemson, Austin Peay, Texas A&M. It's 4 of the 5 lowest scoring games as Josh Heupel is your head football coach here at Tennessee. So Again, you are never going to be as explosive, in my opinion. You are never going to be as good offensively because you're not Hendon Hooker. You don't have Hyatt. You don't have Tillman. You don't have Darnell Wright. You're going to take a step back offensively, okay? That's not the shocking thing about it, from 2022 to 2023. I just think that, you thought you'd be a little bit more explosive and you thought you'd be scoring a little bit more. But nonetheless, I did want to pass along that note. This note is from Brent Hubbs. Really, really good note. Jalen Wright has 569 rushing yards on the season. 294 yards of that, 52% have come after contact. Jalen Wright has been really, really good so far this season. Really good. And over 50% of his yards have come after contact. That's how good he's been. Wrote about it over at VolQuest.com. I call it the Big Three, kind of going back after I watched the football game and my big three takeaways, if you will. The first big one, the one, if you will, that I kind of wrote about was, where's the want to? And I know everybody's beating up on Joe Milton right now, and certainly we'll talk about it as the podcast and the week goes on about his stat line. It's not good enough and everything, but, the want to, where was it on the drive number one? It was 3rd and 8. You had a free play, and you don't take a shot down the field. Okay, so that's a knockoff for situational awareness football. Like, no, it's a free play. I think he knew it was a free play, but take the shot down the football field. You don't have nothing to lose. If you take a shot down the football field, take a shot at the end zone, it's picked off. It's okay. You're getting the ball back. It's a free play. He does take off and run, and it was like, okay, well, you didn't take a shot on it like that, but you see green grass take off and run. That's a smart heads-up play by Joe Milton. And it was also good to see because that's something in a part of his game that you wanted to see more of the past couple weeks. But instead of putting your shoulder down and going and trying to run over somebody and get that first down, you go out of bounds. And I understand, quarterback, you want to protect your body, all that. I hear you. But, dude, it's the opening drive. Situational football. Put your shoulder down and go to the sticks. I mean, what are you doing here? You know why? You know why that was costly? Well, obviously, you didn't get the first down. You didn't take a shot deep. So 3rd and 8 turns into 3rd and 3. You take the 5 yards. Still 3rd down. Jalen Wright gets stuffed on the 3rd down and 3 play, run up the middle, and you're forced to punt. I mean, come on, have a little whereabouts here, right? And then you look at Max Johnson on the ensuing possession, the first possession for Texas A&M, and he's running all over the place. And he's diving for the first down markers, and you're seeing, and I'm not saying that Joe Milton wouldn't give an effort, but again, it's that want to. Like, I saw more of that from Max Johnson early in that football game, that want to. Now, to Joe's credit, as the game went on, he started to feeling himself a little bit and started running over some guys, and that was good to see. But it's just, I mean, come on now, have a little whereabouts you. No situational football. First and foremost, take the shot down the field. That was my first big takeaway. Number two, the defense made a statement about where your program is on a night where, gosh, points were so hard to come by. You win in an unconventional way. You allow 1 touchdown on the day. Okay, you create 2 turnovers. In the fourth quarter, a chance to 2 straight possessions for A&M, a chance to tie or take the lead, and you bow your back and you pick the football off. Okay, you allowed A&M to be 5 of 17 overall on the day on 3rd and 4th downs, 5 of 15 on 3rd downs. Job well done. Job well done, Tennessee's defense. How about that? And though you only got 2 sacks, and though you only got 5 TFLs, you were hitting the crap out of Max Johnson all game long. That was really, really good to see. And then the last one, I was just like, hey, Al, the last of the big three was, how great is D. Williams, right? On a night where points were so hard to come by, you needed a spark, and you got it from D. Williams. Downing the punt at the 1-yard line, defense coming out, getting a quick 3 and out, and then D. Williams making one guy miss and outrunning the rest for the 39-yard touchdown or, punt return for a touchdown. What an effort from D. Williams. And I love his mindset, what he spoke in after the game, saying, hey, I just got to know I got to be ready. I can only control what I can control. The question was asked to him, have you been lobbying to play some offense? And he's literally, if you're watching on YouTube right now, he's like, yes. And that's all he said, but he was like, yes. But he was like, I can only control what I can control. And tonight I did what I could control when I scored a touchdown. I love that. I absolutely love that. Coming up, scoring plays, courtesy of the Vol Radio Network. Do want to get into 2 more notes, and I saw these, so I bookmarked them. This is from Bill Martin, Tennessee Sports Information Director for Football. Pro Football Focus, James Pierce. for Tennessee against Texas A&M. 5 quarterback hurries, 2 tackles for loss, 1 sack. He's currently the highest graded defensive lineman in the SEC this season by Pro Football Focus at 91.6. And we know from Pro Football Focus Wednesdays, at 91.6, that is considered an elite grade. So somebody asked me last week, I don't know if it was on the show or whatever, but it was, what does it take to be considered an elite prospect? James Pierce, 91.6. How about that? Another note from Bill Martin, Haden for Tennessee in 2023, 8 PBUs, that's pass breakups, tied for 4th in FBS, 2nd in the SEC. 3 interceptions, that's tied for 12th in FBS, that's 5th in the SEC. 11 pass deflected, that's tied for 2nd in FBS. And 1 pick six, 90.3 coverage grade, according to Pro Football Focus. That is the first of all SEC defensive backs. How about that? Haden is having himself a year. He really is. He is having himself a year. Hey, when we come back, scoring grades and more, courtesy of the Vol Radio Network. That's what you have to look forward to when we come back right here on Locked On Vols. Do want to tell you about our friends over at Game Time. You shouldn't have to worry about when you're buying tickets to your next event. Game Time, it's fast. It's easy. Easy way to buy tickets, not only to sporting events, but to music, to theater, to comedy, all that near you. With last-minute killer deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and the best price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. What I like about Game Time on that app, they show you your seats before you buy them. So you're literally seeing exactly what you're going to pay for. Plus, they got that lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, and job loss protection. So they truly, truly do have your back. Plus, all-in prices show your total up front, so you know you're getting a great deal without hidden fees. Buy tickets in seconds with 2 taps at Game Time app, the Game Time app. I encourage you to download the Game Time app, create an account, use the promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONCollege. That's LOCKEDCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. And also, a big shout out to our friends over at Prize Picks. Prize Picks. Awesome stuff. It's the largest independently owned daily fantasy sports platform in America. Easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on your 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll on in. All right, Prize Picks is the most fun I have ever had, winning 25 times my money this football season. You just select 2 or more players, pick again. You got a total. You're going to say, are they going to go over or under, which is more or less, the projected stats, and then just place your entry. It is super easy. Plus, quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types is what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports out there. It's not just football. You can do basketball, college football, National Football League. You can do cricket. You can do tennis. You can do golf. I mean, you can do soccer. They've got so many, in WNBA, you got so many different platforms and sports to look at over there at prizepicks.com. So what I encourage you to do, all right, is go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnCollege. Use the promo code LockedOnCollege for a first deposit match up to $100. Meaning if I put in $100, Prize Picks is going to match me $100. If I put in $50, Prize Picks is going to match me $50. Again, prizepicks.com/LockedOnCollege. Put in that promo code LockedOnCollege for an instant deposit match up to $100. That's at prizepicks.com/LockedOnCollege. All right, guys, want to welcome you back here to a Monday edition of Locked On Vols. Tennessee, a 20-13 winner over Texas A&M, 5-1 on the season, 2-1 in Southeastern Conference play, and moving on to the road at Tuscaloosa, at Alabama this weekend, and then at Lexington for Kentucky, the Wildcats, the following week. We're about to find out a lot about Tennessee, that is for sure. And again, the way Tennessee's running the football, the way Tennessee's improved on defense, you saw what this team can still do when you're getting essentially nothing from the passing game. You saw that on Saturday. You really did. Imagine if Keaton doesn't drop that pass. If Keaton continues to run down the sideline and maybe catches that go route, that fade, right? What if Dante Thornton, or not Dante Thornton, what was the other one, guys? It was Chaz Nimrod. What if Chaz Nimrod is not interfered with down there and you connect on that 40 burger or whatever it was? I mean, things can change. Things can change in a hurry, but You saw Tennessee win an SEC game, doing all that, and playing elite level of football without basically having anything in the aerial attack. So Tennessee's still a dangerous football team. Tennessee is a very dangerous football team and absolutely can win on the road this weekend. We'll break down that matchup as the week goes on for sure. Do want to go back and listen to some of those scoring plays and how did it sound, courtesy of the Vol Radio Network. First, we will start with the first touchdown of the game. Tennessee received the opening kickoff, got a first down, and then it was that whole Joe Milton non-situational football awareness. When he runs out of bounds, they come back, do 3rd and 3 stuff. Tennessee has to punt the football to Texas A&M. A&M gets the football, marches 80 yards on 7 plays, takes 4:15 off the clock. A very athletic type play from Max Johnson gets Texas A&M on the board first, and Tennessee was in a quick hole, 7-0.
Johnson will go under center with an I formation. 2 tight ends to the right. Johnson, play fake, rolls, looks. Comes back to the left. Now he looks again, cuts it back up to the 5, dives for the pylon on the left side. Did he get in? Yes. Touchdown. Max Johnson rolled to the right. There was nothing there. He was going to do a bootleg and look for his tight end. He came back all the way from the right hash mark, rolled all the way to the left and dove at the pylon and got the touchdown.
You can hear the annoyance, the frustration in Pat Ryan's voice there. Pat Ryan and Bob Kessling, the voice of the Vols. That is the Vol Radio Network. I have written and verbal permission from the Vol Radio Network to play these highlight calls here on Locked On Vols. That's written in the description as well. And Tennessee was behind 7-0. Tennessee does come back, tie the football game later in the first quarter. It was Joe Milton, his only passing touchdown of the game, a little 7-yarder to Jacob Warren, a little play action, rolling out to his left, hits Jacob Warren, capping a 6-play, 51-yard drive, 2:10 off the clock, and Tennessee was all knotted up at 7 apiece.
With a 1st and goal at the 7, Milton sends squirrel wide in motion. Going to roll to the left, fires, and the pass is going to be caught, going to the pylon, trying to get there, and it's a touchdown to Jacob Warren. Play fake going left, and Joe Milton hit Jacob Warren, who fought his way to the pylon and gets a Tennessee touchdown.
So from there, it was Texas A&M that took the lead at 10-7 in the second quarter. It was Robbie Bowl. Was it Robbie? I can't remember his name. I can tell you right now. 1 second. Randy. It was Randy Bond who kicked the 41-yard field goal, capping a 51-yard, 11-play drive. 6 minutes off the clock for A&M, and it was 10-7. Then you go into halftime. I think you had a Charles Campbell miss 51-yard field goal in the middle there sometime. Tennessee trailed 10-7 at the halftime break. Coming out midway through the third quarter, we've talked about the sequence. You down the punt at the 1-yard line. Great punt by Jackson Ross. D. Williams downs at the 1-yard line. Tennessee's defense comes out, allows 1 yard, gets -1 yard, causes a false start. They back it up maybe a half an inch because you're already backed up on the goal line. You have an incomplete pass. Good pass defense by Kamal Haden on that 3rd down. You punt the football to Tennessee. It is D. Williams, 39 yards to the house, and Tennessee takes its first lead of the ball game. And here's how that punt return touchdown sounded for D. Williams, courtesy of the Vol Radio Network.
Constantine back with his heels right on the boundary in the end zone. Gets the snap, gets it out of there. Tennessee's got a return on. D. Williams comes up at his own at the A&M 39-yard line. Makes a move, breaks a tackle, gets to the 25, gets to the 20. Can he outrun everybody? And he does! Tennessee touchdown. D. Williams, 39 yards. Caught the ball as Tennessee had the return on, made a move in the middle, cut to the outside, and then his speed took over. And D. Williams gives Tennessee its first lead of the day, 13-10 on the touchdown return.
Special player is D. Williams. First lead of the day, and Tennessee would never look back. Though, I mean, again, guys, it was close. Tennessee led at that point in time 14-10. What a freaking play. Ensuing possession for A&M, it was Randy Bond again, connecting for 24 yards, making it 14-13. It makes it a 1-point deficit for A&M. Tennessee leads 14-13. You head into the fourth quarter, and Tennessee adds on 2 field goals from Charles Campbell, 1 from 31 yards, 1 from 24 yards, so make him 2 for 3 on the day. and Tennessee gets it up to 17-13 and 20-13 on back-to-back possessions. Now, Tennessee should have scored on one of those when he got the football back, right after that first interception I'm going to tell you about. It didn't, had to punt. But on back-to-back possessions, A&M had the opportunity to drive the length of the field, guys, and take the lead. Drive the length of the field and take the lead, but it could not. And it was because of back-to-back interceptions caused by the front rush and then guys in the back end. First Gabe Judy Lawley, and then it's Kamal Haden, and Kamal Haden's interception sealed the game. It was a really, really nice play by Haden going up. Tamari McDonald was right there as well, but I think it was all Kamal Haden. Just goes up, hits the ball into the air, a little tip drill, goes up and gets it, runs around for a minute, gets down, and that's all she wrote. Tennessee was a winner. Here's that game-sealing interception for Kamal Haden. Here's how it sounded from Bob Kessling on the Vol Radio Network.
Tennessee leads 20-13. Johnson out of the shotgun. Back to throw. Tennessee pressuring. Johnson stands in there, fires, pass, tipped in the air, intercepted by Tennessee at the 45-yard line. That's Haden. Kamal Haden still running around. Now he slides down at midfield. Johnson's intercepted for the second time. Kamal Haden comes up with a big play, and Tennessee holds on 20-13 with 22 seconds to go.
Good stuff there. Really, really good stuff there. Kamal Haden, who just continues. Again, kind of like what I was talking about in segment number 1 with Joe Milton. It's like his mess-ups just kind of linger, and it's hard for him to get the benefit of the doubt sometimes in the odds of Tennessee fans. And that's Kamal Haden. I said it on a couple different podcasts already. And I'm not trying to make excuses. Those were bad. South Carolina game last year, not wrapping up at Florida this year. I get it. Those were bad. Now, I'm not making an excuse. But if you can find a way, if you're one of those people, if you can find a way to look past that and you see what he's just doing as a cover corner this year, it's playing out of his mind right now. He's playing really, really, really good football. So those are the calls, the highlight calls, the scoring calls, courtesy of the Vol Radio Network, Bob Kessling, Pat Ryan, Brent Hubbs, and really, really enjoy the Vol Radio Network allowing me to play those here on Locked On Vols. When we come back, stats and Cain grades, that's coming up next right here on Locked On Vols. Do want to tell you about our friends over at Athletic Brewing Company. Athletic Brewing Company, awesome company for the non-alcoholic beers, but they sponsor the Game Changer of the Week. And just like James Pierce, I mean, what a freaking animal, right? Got another sack. Just read off that stat from Bill Martin. He's, the top-rated defensive lineman in the SEC per Pro Football Focus. Had 5 quarterback hurries, another couple TFLs this past week. He is playing out of his mind right now. But just like James Pierce, Athletic Brewing Company, changing the game for non-alcoholic beer game. Make non-alcoholic beers actually taste really, really good. So their beers are great tasting. They're award-winning. They beat out full-strength beers in global competitions. They brew over 50 styles of craft non-alcoholic beer, including IPAs, golden sours, and a whole lot more. They're fit for all time, so you can drink them anytime, anywhere, and make any activity even more enjoyable. These activities such as watching the big Tennessee game, going to your kids' game, the soccer game on a Saturday morning, tackling some work, or, hell, working out, right? There's no hangovers ever with non-alcoholic beer with Athletic Brewing Company. In-store, online, and bars around the country, you can get your Athletic Brewing Company's non-alcoholic brews at a store near you. You can buy online at athleticbrewing.com. First customers can use promo code LOCKEDONCollege to get 15% off your first online order. That is locked on at checkout. So let me try this again. First customers use that promo code locked on to get 15% off your first online order. That's locked on, LOCKEDON at checkout for 15% off at athleticbrewing.com. Near beer, exclusions and conditions apply. Athletic Brewing Company, fit for all times. All right, our final segment left here on this Monday edition of Locked On Vols. Appreciate you guys for being here. Don't forget, Twitter Tuesday. Any comments, questions, fill out the comment section on YouTube for this episode. DM me at _Cain at Locked On Vols. Tweet me. I'll bookmark them, and it's when you everydayers get to take over the show. I've already made a note of a couple of you guys already reaching out to me. Appreciate you guys for that as always, and we'll read them on there and we'll have a discussion about it. All right, stats and Cain grades. Well, Tennessee did a whole lot good on Saturday. What did they do good? Well, first, let's look at total offensive yards, 332. That's below the season average. That's not that good. 71 plays, 4.7 yards per play. I mean, that's okay. It's not great, especially in this offense. Passing yards, not great. 100 passing yards, 4.5 yards per attempt. That is not great. And, of course, you have that interception. But what Tennessee did really well, running the football against the SEC's best rush defense through 6 games. That was Texas A&M that allowed 84 yards. I said it a million times last week. It's only right to say it again when I tell you what Tennessee did to that. Allowed 84 yards on average on the ground for rush defense was Texas A&M going into this game. Tennessee ran for 232 yards, averaging 4.7 yards per tote. How about that? Running the football. Hats off to Tennessee's offensive linemen, Tennessee's tight ends, and those running backs. Penalties, not a good day for either squad. 11 penalties, 90 yards for Texas A&M. 12 penalties, 115 yards for Tennessee. Usually when Tennessee is over 100 yards in penalties, Tennessee loses that game. Of course, usually when Tennessee does this or that, they lose the game. But on Saturday, you won the game. It was a really, really weird win. But again, you take that win for if you're the University of Tennessee. Jackson Ross had 3 punts, 2 that were inside the 20. He averaged 40 yards, and of course, 1 was down to the 1-yard line. He did a really, really good job. Possession time, I thought this was interesting, and I think this says a lot. A&M had possessed the football for 30 minutes and 48 seconds. Tennessee possessed the football for 29 minutes and 12 seconds, meaning it was pretty much easy. And Tennessee's never going to win the turnover or never going to win the time of possession battle, but when it's that even, you know you're not scoring an awful lot. I think that's pretty telling. Third down conversions, A&M was 5 of 15, Tennessee was 7 of 15. Fourth down conversions, A&M was 0-2, Tennessee was 0-2. Red zone scores, this is something Josh Heupel, harped on in the postgame press conference and at halftime. Red zone, Tennessee was very poor in the red zone. Tennessee scored on 3 of 5 trips to the red zone, only 1 touchdown. So on 5 trips to the red zone, Tennessee scored 1 touchdown. It's not good enough. That is not good enough. A&M scored on all 3 of its trips to the red zone, but again, only scored 1 touchdown as well. Let's look at the individual stats, and that's kind of where I'll get into my Cain or grades right here. Let's start with the quarterback, shall we? Again, I talked a little bit about it in the postcast. You guys will ask me questions about it, I'm sure. We'll talk about it as the week goes on. I'll just continue to stay here at the early portion of the week. I am not clamoring for a quarterback change. I'm not telling you, I'm not a coach. I haven't seen Nico scrimmage. I haven't seen Nico practice outside of throwing routes on air for, a 5-minute period back in August. I'm not going to act like I'm sitting there and saying, oh, Nico's ready to do this. I do not anticipate a change being made. I know a lot of people are wondering. I do not anticipate it. I don't think a change, especially this week, I do not believe a change is going to be made. At the end of the day, too, you're 5-1. And so I know you're winning in spite of your quarterback, and you won in spite of him the other day. But a lot of you guys thinking right now and yelling into your dashboards, your cell phones or whatever, saying, what about Nico? What about Nico? I don't believe that there's going to be a change. I just don't. If I believe that there's going to be a change, then I'll pass that along. But right now, I just don't believe that there's going to be a change. Having said that, let's look at how bad these numbers were. Golly, 11 to 22, 100 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was sacked 3 times. Joe Milton, Ramel Keaton dropped the touchdown. He stopped running on one to the near sideline that I thought he could have caught. Chaz Nimrod was completely interfered with that they didn't call, and I thought that could have been caught. So again, just like every single game, we say shoulda, coulda, woulda. Well, if that one was caught, if that one was caught, and your receivers got to help him out a little bit. Nothing Chaz Nimrod could have done there, but Joe Milton at the end of the day just missing wide open slants, not seeing the safety in the end zone when you're forcing a football in there, when you're juiced up and jacked up. After you run over that guy and you force a football into the back of the end zone when a safety's just sitting right there in the middle. That's 2 games in a row. And for a lot of the season early on, you're saying, well, at least you're not making mistakes. You're not putting the football in harm's way. Well, the past 2 games you have, that's not good enough. Tennessee cannot have this stat line and win football games in Tuscaloosa. Tennessee cannot have this stat line, in my opinion, and win a game in Lexington. Hell, win a game in Missouri and beat Georgia at home. This has got to be better. It's got to be better for sure, and I'm not saying anything that you guys don't know. I did like how Joe Milton did get some hidden yardage out there running the football in the second half. Thought he did a good job of running the football and kind of taking what was given to him. He ended up with 50 yards gain, only 34 net because he got sacked a couple of times. But The stat line for Joe Milton, not great. Chaz Nimrod thought he stepped up and played pretty well in this football game for an injured Brew McCoy. 4 receptions off 6 targets, 31 yards. Squirrel White, 3 receptions off 6 targets, 29 yards. There wasn't really much doing in the receiving game. We know that. But the run game, Jalen Wright, 136 yards off 19 carries, averaging 7.2 yards per tote. This guy is an animal. Man, what a game. I love watching Jay Wright run the football. If your dad and uncle are listening right now, gosh, your boy is good. Man, he's good. And I think Jabari Small has had a good year, and I love the rotation in the backfield. I truly do. I love D. Sampson. I think he runs hard for his size. It's hard to find the touches for all those, but obviously Jalen Wright is the bell cow. That's obvious, 19 carries. It's hard to take some carries away from Jabari Small because I think he's playing well, but I'd love to see Dylan Sampson get involved more. I would still love to see Dylan Sampson get involved more, but man, Jalen Wright, 136 yards against that rush defense. Job well done. Job well done. I mentioned Jackson Ross earlier, 2 punts inside the 20. Thought he had a heck of a day. How about the first game of the season? A lot of fans, not all the fans, a lot of fans are ready to wipe their hands clean at Jackson Ross. Well, he's been a weapon for Tennessee. Charles Campbell, 2 of 3 kicking field goals. He's now missed 2 from 50-plus yards. So coming into the year, he had hit multiple 50-yarders. So far this year, he is not. So that's something to remember going forward. Josh Tuberville, 5 kickoffs, 4 touchbacks. He continues to be really, really good. And then defensively, you had a sack by James Pierce, 2 TFLs, 5 quarterback hurries. You had a sack by Tyler Barron, a TFL quarterback hurry. You had an interception by Kamal Haden. You had an interception by Gabe Judy Lawley. Aaron Beasley, Elijah Herring, both had 5 tackles. Just a really, really solid day defensively for this group. So, as we say goodbye, here are my Cainer grades, and they're my grades, so don't care what you think, but obviously these are subject to, the interpreter, I guess. Quarterback's going to get a D. Ramel King's got to help him out. Officials, help him out. Call defensive pass interference. Too many misfires. And the play calling, was very much affected by that. I did not think Josh Heupel called a very good game on Saturday, and I think a lot of that was because you were just super inconsistent throwing the football. Receivers, quarterback is what it is. Quarterback, D. Running back, A. You do that against the number 1 ranked rush defense in the conference. Job well done. Tight end's going to get an A. Jacob Warren caught a touchdown. McCallum Castles caught both of his targets, and of course you help block for that run game. Wide receiver is going to get a C. Didn't think the wide receivers did a lot to help out your quarterback. Didn't really do an awful lot in terms of changing the game, so I'll give a C to the quarterbacks. Offensive line, you allowed 3 sacks. You had a couple penalties, again, with your guards, Ollie Lane, Javonte Spraggins. But again, you ran the football for 232 yards. So, hard for me not to say the offensive line didn't have a pretty solid day. B+ for the offensive line. Defensive line gets an A. Doing all that without Omar Norman Lott I thought was impressive. I like the snap counts continuing to get up there. Dominic Bailey played a lot of snaps. Elijah Simmons is continuing to get more snaps. Thought Amari Thomas played really, really well. Thought Bryson Eason played well. Thought James Pierce obviously played well. Thought Joshua Joseph flashed a little bit. Defensive line gets an A. Linebackers get a B. Couple missed tackles there from Herring, from Carter, from Beasley, but overall it's pretty solid. Really good against the run as well. A&M ran for 54 yards. Really good against the run. Loved what this defense did against the run. Defensive backfield. Wasn't perfect, never's going to be, but give me an A. All right, Max Johnson. Everybody's saying, well, he's a backup quarterback. He's a backup quarterback. Dude started at 2 different schools in the Southeastern Conference. He's been there, done that. He's a veteran in this league. And Tennessee's defensive line, Tennessee's defense had its way with him. 16 of 34, 223, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. 2 interceptions on the last 2 possessions of the football game coming from Gabe Judy Lawley and Kamal Haden. The defensive backfield gets an A. Special teams, let's see here. 6 kickoffs or 5 kickoffs, 4 touchbacks, 6 kickoffs, 5 touchbacks, whatever that is. You down a punt at the 1. You have 2 punts inside the 20. You average 40 from Jackson Ross. You have a punt return for a touchdown. Yeah, special teams gets an A. How about that? D. Williams, MVP. Special team gets an A. And then coaching, I'll give coaching a C. Tim Banks, very good night. Tim Banks' defense, very good on 3rd and 4th downs. However, there were 2 times where it was 3rd and 14, 3rd and 15, or 3rd and 15, 3rd and 16. 2 of the 5 third down conversions for the A&M offense came off 3rd and Vols. Come on, you got to get off the field. But overall, Tim Banks, great game. Josh Heupel, like I mentioned earlier, I do not think this was a great called game by Josh Heupel. Also think he was handcuffed a little bit because the forward pass was not working in the way of the Tennessee offense on the night. So anyway, those are my thoughts a couple days after going back and watching the game, taking a look at the stat sheet and all that. Hope you enjoyed it. We have a whole lot to talk about this week, getting ready for Alabama. Tennessee's dangerous. Tennessee's right in the mix, and when Tennessee runs the football and plays defense like that and gets contributions on special teams, I mean, hell, if you complete a pass now and then, I mean, you're going to be a dangerous, dangerous football team. There's a lot of positive from this football game. I know a lot of people don't want to believe that. A lot of positives from this football game. I'm telling you, you're going to need to play some good football heading down to Tuscaloosa this weekend at Bryant-Denny Stadium. And we'll continue to preview that as the week goes on. Twitter Tuesday, that's tomorrow's show. Any questions, any comments, concerns, whatever you guys want to tell me, every day as you take over the show, that's at Locked On Vols and at _Cainer. And of course, you can fill up the comment section here on YouTube as well. Appreciate you guys as always. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow, guys. This is Locked On Vols.